coming out on Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone watching. Assuming you're watching on Christmas Day and not any time in the future.
That's what people are doing on Christmas Day, is watching this podcast.
I mean, honestly, like if you're getting a little tired of family time, you might just want to chill out and watch YouTube.
Oh no, like
I'm not saying I've ever done that because I wouldn't admit to that.
You're saying, Chris, gather your family around to watch China Unscripted for Christmas?
Yeah, that's the new tradition.
That's a much better message.
It's a Wonderful Life, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Love Actually, China Unscripted podcast. These are the holiday classics.
Love Actually is...
Oh, it's definitely become one in the last 20 years.
You know what else is a great Christmas movie?
Die Hard. Yeah.
How did I miss that one?
Yeah. That's the thing the internet says. All right. Well, so this is going to be sort of our year in review of everything that's kind of happened in this past year in China. It's been
a pretty wild, exciting, tumultuous year.
Yeah. Well,
really? I feel like we've had more exciting and tumultuous years.
Well, because you spent so long in that pocket dimension, you know.
Yeah. Wait, what happened between April and July?
Well, I we don't ever really reveal too much about our personal lives on the show, and I like that. But I do want to say it has been a tremendously challenging year personally for all three of us, and hopefully that was none of you watching had a sense of that, because of the entire China Uncensored and America Uncovered team working so hard behind the sines to just keep everything running smoothly.
Keep the train on the tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely a big thank you to everyone involved with this show. It was a year.
It was a year. Right. That is true. Personally, it was a very tumultuous and exciting year.
Yeah. And also a very special shout out to the individuals who help with this podcast, which is Anderson, our editor, Holly, our studio tech, and Ying, our sound tech.
You named names.
I did, but they're in the credits, so, you know.
Wait, we have credits?
Shelley doesn't watch our podcast.
Not until the credits, apparently.
No, that's fine. Well, let's start with China, because China itself let's start with China on the China podcast. What I mean is, like we've been covering China for a long time, but this year in particular has seemed like an absolutely crazy year internally for China. I mean, number one, after the end of the zero COVID thing, you had everyone predicting, China's economy will rebound. It's going to be back to business. Well, first of all, there was a massive surge of COVID, and we have no idea, not even in just that period, but for the entire pandemic, how many people in China died.
Right. But I think what was most interesting is after they ended zero COVID, they basically instructed doctors and hospitals to not record COVID deaths as COVID deaths. They're just as deaths and not list the cause. And that way they permanently obscure the real situation by literally never collecting the data that anyone could ever go back and look at.
Yeah, I mean, that's communism 101.
Yeah, but it's like a ruthlessly brilliant way of solving the problem.
Yeah, you control the narrative. Yeah, we'll never really know what happened in these past several years.
Now, this is what's great about, Chinese technocrats. They say China is run by technocrats. They're very
it's a meritocracy.
No, the technocrats, they're very skilled at figuring out technical ways to solve problems, right? Solve the COVID death problem by just simply not recording the data. Solve the Uyghur problem by simply putting them in, vocational training schools where they do forced labor.
Yeah, it's the idea that people in society are really just things to be manipulated to achieve the outcome that you want.
Yeah. So I think they're actually very skilled at that. Is it horrible to the individual people living there? Sure. But, that's bad. I don't have a larger point there.
No, I saw that happening.
Look, it's been a tough year, okay?
But yeah, so, and what is interesting about that is that there was a lot of predictions in Western media that the Chinese economy would come roaring back. What we have seen is a lot of well, we've been covering it for years. How a lot of the economic problems in China was just kicking the can down the road, keep pumping more debt, move things around, and now it seems like all of these bubbles are bursting.
Don't forget, just use foreign direct investment to paper over all the trouble, right?
And that started drying up this year in a big way.
Yeah, I think there was a report recently by, I'm gonna have to look up the name of this, the Institute of International Finance, which is basically like an industry group for the financial industry, that predicted that there would be $65 billion pulled out of China next year.
Wow.
From like foreign investment.
You mean in 2024?
Yes, in 2024. But, that's a lot, but also not a lot in the larger scheme of how much money has been pumping into China for the last, several decades.
But can foreign firms even pull that much out?
It's quite tricky. And I think for a lot of smaller companies, for them to leave China, it essentially means that they have to cut their losses in a lot of ways. Like they will never get all their money out.
Right.
And for larger companies, maybe there's not even really a way they can leave because like you cannot pull the majority of your money out.
Right. Yeah, and especially if you've built factories like Tesla in their factories in China, like that's very hard to pull that out and take that equipment with you.
Yeah, you can't just like carve up the ground and lift the whole factory up.
I think if Tesla ever wanted to leave China, I think essentially they would have to sell everything to a Chinese company.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
just kind of, if they pulled out, then essentially the CCP would nationalize the Tesla factories, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Elon Musk went to China in May this year to like try to smooth things over and with, after all the shutdowns. And
I know you're getting emotional about it.
I am.
I think that it's okay if Elon Musk pulls out of China because they can just get Chinese Elon Musk to run the Tesla factory.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, Elon Ma. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because this kind of ties into the other big thing this year, like the whole fiasco of U.S.-China relations and how it was impossible for Biden to meet Xi Jinping. But we saw Elon Musk going to China. We saw Kissinger, who also died this year. Rest in peace. We saw Gavin Newsom getting to have a personal meeting with Xi Jinping. This whole kind of dancing around. Oh, yeah.
I don't think my eyes can roll far back enough in my head for the Gavin Newsom thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you would see into your brain.
Yeah.
So what was your point about that? Just that.
Oh, yeah. How this was part of the whole dance going on between. Well, really, it wasn't a dance. It was the CCP manipulating the U.S.-China relationship by, specifically withholding access to the American government, federal government, while, showing that, hey, if you play China's game, like Elon Musk can talk to us, Newsom can talk to us, but, Biden, if you want to talk, you have to make some real concessions. If you want that military-to-military communication, which has been cut off, you got to send Blinken kowtowing his way to China, which is essentially what did happen.
I thought that was Janet Yellen.
They both went to China.
Oh, yeah, but like in terms of like, didn't she get in trouble
she actually
for bowing?
Yeah, she bowed. That's true. I was speaking metaphorically.